A shocking breach of Poland's airspace by Russian drones has set off alarm bells across NATO's eastern borders, sparking an urgent military response aimed at strengthening defences. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this a deliberate act of aggression or a bungled incursion? The debate is heating up, and the implications could reshape security strategies across Europe. In the early hours of Wednesday, Polish forces detected and shot down 3 Russian drones that had crossed into their airspace, a move Poland described as unprecedented in scale and seriousness. Several additional drones were found crashed in various parts of eastern Poland, intensifying concerns about the nature and intent of these aerial intrusions. Poland has not wasted time. It has called for an emergency United Nations Security Council meeting to discuss the matter, scheduled for Friday at 1900 GMT. Meanwhile, NATO allies are rallying to bolster the alliance's eastern defences. The Netherlands and the Czech Republic have pledged to send troops, artillery and air defence systems to Poland, while Lithuania will receive a German brigade and enhanced early warning support against potential Russian attacks that might spill over from Ukraine. Germany has committed to intensifying its presence along NATO's eastern border, including extending and expanding air policing missions over Polish skies. Polish Defence Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, speaking to the national parliament, outlined the reinforcements on the way. Dutch forces will deploy hundreds of troops along with air defence artillery. The Czechs will send helicopters and 100 soldiers, and French and British air forces could also contribute to securing NATO's vulnerable eastern flank. Kosiniak-Kamysz's remark struck a chord. Poland has often heard rhetoric and empty promises in the past. But today, we are seeing concrete actions and commitments from our allies. This is a significant development, as previous incursions by Russian drones or missiles into NATO members' territories were less intense and generally viewed as isolated incidents, rather than coordinated attempts to test alliance resolve. The Russian government has declined to comment on claims that these drone flights were provocations designed to escalate tensions with NATO. However, many officials in Poland and across Europe argue that the incursions were deliberate. Polish President Karol Nawrocki described the episodes as a Russian provocation, clearly meant to assess NATO's defensive capabilities, an opinion shared by top leaders in Germany and France. Yet, not everyone agrees. Some military analysts remain divided, suggesting that Moscow might not have intended for these drones to penetrate Polish airspace, implying the incidents could have been accidental or caused by technical errors. NATO's leading commander, Alexis Grinkowicz, cautioned on Thursday that the intent behind the drone flights was still unclear, and that authorities have yet to finalise the exact count of drones that crossed the border. Despite this ambiguity, anxiety is rising among countries neighbouring Russia, prompting swift precautionary measures. Poland is imposing strict limits on drone and low-altitude air traffic along its eastern borders with Belarus and Ukraine, while Latvia announced it will shut down its eastern airspace for a full week. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has offered to train Western military personnel in defending against Russian aerial attacks, which Ukrainian forces face almost nightly. Zelensky also proposed creating a joint air defence system to protect European skies from future Russian aggression, a call some say is long overdue. Adding to the tension are upcoming large-scale joint military exercises by Belarus and Russia called Zapad 2025, scheduled to start on Friday. Poland is responding by closing its border with Belarus for national security reasons, labelling the drills as highly aggressive. Historically, the Zapad exercises have been massive, with the last one involving around 200,000 troops shortly before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This year's drills will reportedly involve fewer forces, around 30,000, according to Lithuanian military intelligence chief Mindaugas Mazonas, but still represent a formidable display. Notably, the reaction from the United States leadership has been surprisingly muted. Former President Donald Trump posted a brief, cryptic comment on social media expressing frustration at Russia's violation of Polish airspace, but offered no detailed response or policy suggestions. In contrast, Polish President Mirocki reported ongoing consultations with his US counterpart that reaffirmed the unity and shared commitment among NATO allies. This unfolding situation raises important questions for all of us. Is NATO prepared for a new level of hybrid warfare that blends traditional military strikes with drone incursions in allied territories? How should the alliance balance decisive action with diplomatic restraint when it comes to ambiguous provocations? And to what extent might these events push Europe closer to either peace or further conflict? We invite you to share your thoughts. Do you see these drone flights as deliberate provocations risking war or costly accidents amidst a tense conflict zone? How confident are you in NATO's ability to protect its eastern members moving forward? Your perspective matters in this complex and evolving story.